Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Okay, I'm back really soon and probably will not do a third one tonight for a really funny reason. I need my glasses to do a history show and I can't find them. To check my teeth again to make sure I don't have lipstick. You got to remind me to do that before the show starts. Okay, this is going to be a quick second show for this evening. And it's always surprising when there's like nobody in chat at the beginning. But again, this will be short. Let me do my YouTuber stuff, which I did not do last show. So we did talk about Anarchon last time, but this time I do want to mention again Sean Dempsey's books. Sean Dempsey is a sponsor of the show. Since we're talking about a book in the show, I thought it appropriate to mention his children's books, Ava and the Storm and The Tale of Two Brothers. If you enjoy, not you, well, maybe you personally, listen, if you're an adult that likes to read children's books, no shame in your game. But if you have children that you would like to, you know, impart some life lessons to, kind of like Tuttle Twins type things where there's a libertarian message without being too overt, I would highly recommend these. And again, it's Sean Dempsey out of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. He's SeanDempsey, and you can get these on Amazon. And yes, I have read both of them. I have read both of them. And now I do see there are people in chat. That's wonderful. And I did want to say, you can follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter, and I am not using that dumb new name, which makes no sense, all because Muskie has a fetish for a certain letter of the alphabet. But I am Karen Ann Harlos on the app formerly known as Twitter. And also, I would appreciate a subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. And last but not least, I do have a goal by the end of August of getting an additional $50 a month in patrons. I haven't really been pushing this, but in order for me to do multiple shows a night, I really do need and appreciate your support. We do some patron only content, mostly deep dives into books. We are going through the Anarchist Handbook right now. So I'd really appreciate it. That's patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. Of course, super chat, super stickers, that sort of thing always does help and is greatly appreciated. Okay, I'm trying to get that off the screen. 1 second. There we go. Away with you. And I closed the comments by accident. All right. So if you saw in the thumbnail, and I should have, I think I can pull this up. I had the thumbnail saved on my desktop, so I can pull it up right here. So it's this book, How Democracies Die by Stephen, and I think I put Steve in the title. I didn't mean any disrespect for that. For some reason, I thought he went by Steve and not Stephen. So Stephen Levitksy and Daniel Zeblatt. I think I am pronouncing that correctly. And as you see, I said some thoughts on this book, and he was so close. Now, I haven't finished it. I just started it, and I am listening to it, but it's the book, okay? If you want to, get all literal, no, I'm not reading it. I'm listening to it. And I think 2 chapters in. I'd need to go look at my phone, but I'm a little ways in. And, oh God, how do I say this? Kindly, but fairly. I hate it. But it's not bad. Does that make sense? To say, thanks, I hate it, but it's not bad? So let me kind of quantify that. I'm going to get through the whole book. I'm not one of those people who think when you start something, you have to finish it. If you think it sucks at the beginning, don't waste your life. It's going to be worthwhile to me to listen to, but it is so illogical. So basically his premises, and there's a lot of good things in it. That's why I am going to finish it. And the joke I did on Twitter, and I'm sure some new watchers or subscribers, whatever, might be horrified. Those of you who know me are not going to be surprised by what comes out of my mouth next. But those of you who are not used to libertarian anarchists, let me just sit down. Maybe get out the smelling salts. Okay, so I posted a joke on the Twitter earlier today that said, I'm starting to listen to How Democracies Die. I know it's not meant to be a tutorial, but I hope I get a step-by-step. Nobody is surprised at that coming out of my mouth that knows me. So his basic premise is, in the past, well, all past is past, but in the more past than past, the way democracies tended to die was by revolution or violent overthrow of some sort. And the way more recent democracies die or are in danger is through democracy itself. And the whole time, I needed to look up that George Bush quote, because his solutions for saving democracy is basically to be very anti-democratic. What was George Bush about the free market? Because that's all I kept hearing each time. Yeah, sacrifice free market principles to save the free market. That's basically what this guy argues for. But he does it so unself-aware. Every once in a while, a little glimpse of self-awareness comes through, and then he just shrugs it off. So he basically argues for the facade of democracy that's gatekept by your betters. because you really can't trust the people with democracy. Now, I happen to agree with him. I just don't agree with his solutions. And this is why I said he was so close, because he was realizing the problem that a democracy has within it the seeds of its own destruction. Because if you truly operate on democratic principles, eventually, or perhaps eventually, the possibility is always open that you can democratically get rid of democracy. So, what is more important? What the people want, or democracy? And that is, what if the people don't want democracy? That is the tension that is riven through at least the little bit that I've listened to so far. And it's very obvious the point of view that he's coming from, because as you guys know, I'm not a Republican. But I also don't think Donald Trump is evil incarnate, and his like painting and comparisons of Trump being the downfall of democracy is just somewhat hilarious to me, without pointing out all, like, and this isn't even a Republican thing. You want to start talking about the downfall of democracy and all that, you could go back to other Republicans. You could go back to Democrats. But the only one that's an American politician he keeps naming by name is Trump. Now, he does mention other people from other countries and historical events, Mussolini, Hitler, that sort of thing by name. But the only American politician so far, well, actually, that's incorrect. He starts talking about how we narrowly avoided alleged descent into authoritarianism by talking about Huey Long and Wallace and things like that. So, but the only one who actually got elected that he was talking about is Trump. So basically, he's like the elites, the in-power politicians, and the party bosses. And he's really into the duopoly. Like, maybe later in his book, third parties will factor in. I would happen to believe that he probably thinks third parties are a horrible threat to democracy because it's a wild card. So he thinks it's the job of the political elites to for the good of the people, gatekeep who they get to choose, to keep things in the 3x5 index card of allowable opinion, which just happens to be leftist opinion in his view. Because it's so funny in talking about authoritarianism, he doesn't talk about the New Deal or any of that crap that was the death of democracy. So he is so close. He is so close because he recognizes that the death of democracy is caused by democracy itself. And rather than realizing it's democracy that's the problem, he just wants to keep perfuming the hog. So, I'm sure I'll have more thoughts on this book as it goes. Now, for those of you who don't know me and for whom these ideas just might seem like, oh my God, I just can't believe somebody actually said that. Let me explain. Out of the systems, I think human politics have definitely evolved. If you look the way people used to be ruled, millennia ago, it's certainly way different than it is now. And I do think that in general, democracy is a huge step forward. But I think we're past it. And we need to get into self-rule, which is why I'm a libertarian anarchist. So I'm not advocating for dictators or monarchies or anything of the sort. I'm advocating for what comes next. Democracy came along when it needed to. And now I think we're on the cusp of what's next. And we're seeing the decay and the inevitable destruction of democracy in nearly every single democracy. They're non-sustainable, and perhaps maybe they're sustainable on a smaller level. They're certainly non-sustainable. And don't give me we live in a republic. Okay, yeah, we do. It's a democratic republic. There's an element of democracy there. I'm not going to get into that semantic argument, and I actually don't think we actually are in a republic anymore, and haven't really been in one since the Civil War. We've been in kind of one, but certainly not the type of one that was envisioned by the founders. Come on, get real. So I think they're unsustainable. over long periods of time, though it remains to be seen if perhaps they're more sustainable and a more homogenous group in smaller territory. But that's not the reality of what we're dealing with now in this country. So I can perhaps see it being a lot more sustainable in a different environment, but not this one. So I just find it funny how close he came to almost seeing the truth. And then, did it scare him? I don't know. So in that way, it's a very poorly argued book. There's so many glaring inconsistencies that he just papers over. But it's also good in a lot of the historical things he says, and in some of the things, like, it's funny how authoritarian this author is while arguing against authoritarianism. Anyway, I would recommend every libertarian read it. You might not come to the same conclusion I do, but right now, like, color me amused. All right, that's it for this one. And again, I was going to do a history show, but I can't find my glasses. So I'm just going to take that as a sign from the gods that I need to oh, crap. Well, this definitely is a sign from the gods. We have a ballot access committee meeting tomorrow, and I need to finish the minutes from last meeting. So that's what I'll be doing. All right, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night. Mi guapas de libertad.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want to